Welcome to Money Talks, a weekly feature on FM 93.5 The Berg and WMEG AM 740. Today we will talk just a little bit about money, maybe some of the things you can do with it, how it can impact your life, some ideas on financial planning and investing, and getting the most out of the money you hope to have, already have, or want to pass down. So sit back, relax, listen, and maybe take some notes, as you may have some questions by the time we're done with this edition of Money Talks. All right, so Dan Joss, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us about Money Talks, and what do you want to talk about today regarding Money Talks?
Today I'd like to talk about spending money.
That's a good topic.
Something we all like to do. There are basically 5 things we can do with money, but today is the first is spending money.
Spending money. I know a lot of people who are very adept at that.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, they can spend it much faster than people can make it.
That's not the best thing.
No.
I think. Well, when we spend money, there's 2 ways to spend it. We can buy things, buy goods.
Right.
Essentially an asset, something I can hold and keep.
Would that be like shoes and dresses?
Shoes and dresses are assets. So you spend money, the money comes out of your bank account for the accountants out there, and you debit the bank account and credit your household goods by adding things to your closet.
All right.
You could also buy a car. So you would have the asset of a car, and you would lose the money you spent on the car.
Okay. Yeah. I my wife's got a couple dresses and shoes, and I got a couple cars. So
those things are one of 2 types of assets. They're depreciating assets.
Okay.
They lose value the longer you keep them. Now, arguably, there may be a dress or there may be a car that would appreciate in value, and we see that with collectors. But on the most part, those assets depreciate.
Gotcha.
So that your net worth decreases the more you spend. You could also buy appreciating assets.
I appreciate the assets.
It's always better if many people appreciate that asset that you have, because then the value goes up.
Okay.
A house in some parts of the country is an appreciating asset.
But not in our part of the country? But that's a whole other segment. That would be the real estate matters.
That's right. Jewelry. Some jewelry can be appreciating assets. I bought my wife a ring for our wedding, and the diamond.
And you've been wealthier for it ever since.
Appreciates in value. That's right. We can also buy other types of depreciating assets would be consumables.
Okay.
Food.
Potato chips.
Soda. We'd use it. We no longer have the asset.
I don't know. I got a lot of asset right in front of me.
keep it around our waistline. And so when you spend on an asset, when you buy something, you should have it in your mind of what it's doing for you. So is it for necessity in the short run? Is it for appreciation in the long run?
Kind of like the potato chips. I might want them, and I might say, "Wow, I'm much healthier for these," but I'm not. I'm just gaining some mass and some immediate gratification. Whereas if I ate like a salad, I might not have it with me as long, but my health might be a little bit better.
That's right, but both of them are consumed, and so you've spent that money, and you no longer have it.
Okay.
You bought a few minutes of life.
A few minutes of life. Or death if it was a Twinkie.
That's my lunch today, was probably death.
Okay.
We can also, besides buying goods, we can pay for services.
Okay.
So that would be your accountant services, attorney fees, haircut, private school, college. Some are services that we receive to help us make better decisions or to do good things. Some of them are essentially just expensed, like a haircut. You keep needing these services over time.
We hope so if you're in the hair salon business.
And then you can have football tickets or travel or vacation where you're buying, in some sense, a service, but you're buying an experience.
Okay.
Because once it's gone, you have the memory of it, and you're better off for that or worse off. But you don't have something you could resell to something else. So that's a service.
Okay.
So I challenge some of my clients to track everything that they spend money on for 30 days.
Wow.
goods or services, appreciating, depreciating, consumables,
Really take a good hard look at where your money's going.
services that help us, like education or classes for enlightenment and those kind of things, or just expenses on Netflix or gas for the car.
Okay. And that kind of gives them and you, because you're going to sit down and consult with them and help them figure out where the money is going and where they maybe want it to go, and make some deliberate decisions about their spending as opposed to haphazard spending.
That's right. It's always good to have a plan to spend. Some don't like the word budget. Some prefer spending plan, but just being aware of where the money is going. It's a limited resource for many of us, and the more careful we are with it, or the more aware we are of where it's going, the better we're off for it.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, Dan, Joss, we thank you for being here today for Money Talk.
Thank you.
Do you have any closing comments that you want to share with the listening audience out there?
Well, other than writing down the expenses for the next 30 days, just periodically review your expenses, your credit card statements or your checkbook, and say, am I content with my spending? Or is it making me a better person? And then make changes.
I think that's a really profound statement. Look at where your money's going and ask yourself, am I happy with my spending? Is it really making me the happy person that I want to be? We don't even think about it usually in those senses, but that's a very simple, basic question. And I think it's an obvious question that we never ask ourselves.
Right. Well, our spending defines our lifestyle. And so the more we spend, the bigger our nest egg has to be, and all the other things associated with that. So if we're content with less, and the less we need for our living.
Okay. Good stuff. Well, Dan, Joss, thanks for being on Money Talks today. Stay tuned out there for Money Talks next week, same time, same station, and we're going to have more great information on Money Talks.
Thank you.
Money Talks is a weekly program presented for the listener's benefit and entertainment. It is provided at no cost to the listener, and the ideas, opinions, and comments are not to be construed as legal advice, tax advice, investment advice, or other advice specific to the listener. Listeners are encouraged to seek the advice of a licensed professional or other qualified party when dealing with financial, legal, tax, medical, investment, insurance, taxidermy, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, real estate, chiropractic, veterinary, oral hygiene, hot air ballooning, etc. We have given you some food for thought. Now, call a licensed professional such as Dan Joss at 757-903-2127. Thanks for listening, and remember, failing to plan is planning to fail.